G'day and welcome to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. Today we are continuing the pain and we are talking about value forwards. This is going to be a podcast where we throw everything up against the wall and see if it sticks. Let's go!
Hodge has done it from nowhere. Sheed from the boundary. Dusty.
G'day and welcome again to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Casey, and you can find me on Twitter /X at Ball Boys Fantasy. Joining me once again, Luke Rogerson. Mate, how are you? Forwards once again?
The forwards have got me frazzled too. I did my my sign-off.
Your sign-off at the beginning? What do you call
this? A salute thing. Just wanted to say bye while the intro was on, and we're back, so hi.
Bit optimistic that this podcast is over already.
This will make no sense for anyone listening.
But don't worry, mate. We've got some big names in this podcast.
Oh, tell me more.
The first player that we're talking about is he's one of the most fantasy relevant players, Sam. Sam is going to be the saviour of our forward line. He's going to be one of the highest risers. Now that he's moved to Brisbane, I think that there's an opportunity for him to be Draper, right? Sam Draper?
Draper.
Draper, yeah, that's the Sam I'm talking about, not any other Sam.
This is how bleak it is.
The
first player that we're going to talk about, neither of us are big on. Sam Draper is priced at 72.
Yes.
I think. And last 5 games last year went 82. There's a couple of things here that are a bit of an issue. First issue is the early bye.
Yes.
Round 2.
Second issue is that he sucks.
I was going to maybe leave that as sort of the 4th or 5th issue, but you just come out and hit him between the eyes. Is he a good sharer? Is what I want to know.
No, I don't think he's a good sharer. I think
he didn't have to do too much sharing at Essendon, and as you said,
last year. Before that, he was sharing a lot with
Big Todd.
And that was the issue.
Well, I think he's going to have to share again this year.
Yeah,
Darcy Ford did more than hold it down. Points during last year.
He's won 2 premierships.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they're gonna, especially early in the year. Like maybe he builds into it and eventually takes that role and they go with him. But like injuries has been his thing, like his entire career. And Brisbane are in no rush to say like get out there and play 80% CBAs. Also, this is quick sidebar. The rule changed. No centre bounces anymore. So do we keep calling them CBAs?
Oh, okay. This is
So because they're not CBAs anymore. They're centre throw attendances.
CTAs. The CTAs.
Yeah.
Oh, heard it here first.
There you go. So
write a strongly worded letter
we've got to rebrand
AFL House.
The CBAs. Yeah, CTAs.
D-Raper, he's a bit of a jumpy boy, to be fair.
You can't keep calling him D-Raper, mate.
It's his name, mate. Why can't I call him his silly stick?
It's 2025. 2026, actually. It's a bit of a sense.
Okay, whatever you want to call him, he is a jumpy boy. So I think the rules will favour him. The other thing, too, is over the last 3 years, Essendon have been right at the bottom of ruck contests, and Brisbane are constantly up the top. Over that period, Brisbane have been between like 10 and 20 more ruck contests per game than what Essendon were in the same thing. So there's more opportunities for scoring, but I just think it's hard to pick a player priced at 72 that you feel is going to essentially share their role.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure here.
Yeah, so like I've got the stat here in games with more than 50% CBAs over the last 2 seasons, which is only 9 games, by the way. He's averaged 81. In games with less than 50% CBAs, he's averaged 62.6, which is a 12-game sample size. If you only take the games where he's 65% or more, which is 6 games, it's 86.7. And what you said, he's priced at 70-ish. There's maybe 10 points of value if he's like the number 1 ruck. If he's like is rucking solo, it's like 15 points of upside. If he's rucking sharing, but he's like the predominant ruck, then maybe there's 10 points of upside, but it's not a premium forward. He doesn't elevate himself up into a top 6 level. The flexibility is nice. You got an early buy. It's a very uphill battle for me to start. Sam Draper, despite me locking him into my side in one of our first podcasts.
I like the idea of a fresh start. He's coming to obviously a really successful club, and I think there's going to be... He'd have to come with an open mind and plenty of buy-in. Like, you're not going to be able to question that. But like you said, there's no need for Brisbane for him to come in and be this dominant force. Like, they've won premierships, of course, without having that kind of like dominant ruck figure like a Gawn or like a Grundy or someone like that. So I just expect him to come in and play a role. I don't know if him playing that role is going to be 20 points of upside.
Yeah, it's going to be for Brisbane, not for Sam. Speaking of Sams, the next player, I don't think we even need to spend too much time on.
I didn't take any notes.
Sam Flanders.
Yeah.
Lock him in. All right, who's the next player?
Safety in numbers, go with the herd.
It's Bailey Smith of 2026. In games where he's played more than 50% CBAs in his career, which is 11 games, 103.6. If we lower the line to 40% CBAs, Luke, it's still 96 points as an average. He's priced at 68. There's 30 points of upside. There's 40 points of upside here. Don't care he's got an early buy. This, in a line where we can't, beggars can't be choosers, just don't question it. If he's there, if he puts up a 70 in round 0, you just pick him. It really is something that we should not overthink.
I agree. He's 26% owned at the moment, which means only a quarter of coaches are actually playing seriously this year.
The only thing that would alarm me is if you watch opening round and he's playing a forward pocket. Then you go, well, what the fuck?
What's going on here?
Yeah.
But it is Ross the Boss.
It is Ross the Boss.
Stranger things have happened.
Maybe he plays 40% game time.
He can't play forward pocket because the poo's got that spot wrapped up.
Yeah, well, we'll get to him in a sec. I think we won't spend too much time talking about Sammy Flanders. Easiest lock of the season, I think, if everything goes the way we think it will. Let's talk about someone who's a bit more interesting in terms of the argument, do you or don't you? Connor McDonald. Now, the early reports, the January training, the track watchers are saying that he is training and playing in the midfield, and he looks fucking good doing it, which does not surprise me. I have sort of been very excited about Connor McDonald the last 2 or 3 seasons, waiting for the time where he does go into the midfield, because he was a midfielder as a junior. I think he was drafted with that maybe in mind, but I think maybe he extended his time in the forward line because he was so effective in the forward line, and that Hawthorn were in a window where they were competing. Different sort of situation this year. There's much more of a need for a midfielder than there is a forward at Hawthorn.
I agree. The fact that he came out at I think it was at the BNF night at the end of last year and said, I'd love to get a little bit more of an even kind of split, a bit more of up the ground time.
There you go.
And he's going to do what the team demands of him at the end of the day. But the fact that Hawthorn didn't get Zach Merritt over the off-season, and the fact that they lost James Worpel, somebody's going to benefit. I hope it's not just Josh Ward again, because that's kind of effectively who had those CBAs, kind of that 4th level CBA guy last year. Hopefully somebody that we like in terms of fantasy can get in there, whether it's McDonald or Dylan Moore. Because
it's a bit of a hope pick, because we're going off nothing from last year. He attended 1% of the CBAs over the season. Like, didn't play any CBAs except for 2 games. He had 12% in round 20, 6% in round 21. So it's like he's gone in there for like 2 or 3 times over the course of the year.
He's better than Cam McKenzie, isn't he?
I think he's the best of the young kind of wave of players coming through.
He's a midfielder as a junior. He said that in this speech that I was reading about.
And we've seen things like that where players have gone from nothing to something, but it's very much at this stage we're banking on it happening without any evidence prior to, which is not normally what we like to do, but it can be the highest jumps that we've seen in the past. We talk about Christian Pachaka. We talk about someone like a Connor Rosie. He even had some little patches before that. We talk about someone like a Bailey Smith, I think in his 2nd or 3rd year. These are ones that can really go up 25, 30 points. What are your thoughts on the argument for Hawthorn never have having in this team's iteration under Sam Mitchell, 95 averaging midfielder. Do you think that is something that we should be concerned about when looking at options like O'Connor McDonald as someone moving into the midfield? Are we worried that they don't produce good midfield scorers?
I think they do have a 95 averaging midfielder. He's just not
injured.
playing.
Yeah.
So, and the second part to that question is they're not worried about it. So I don't expect them to go out and change a game style just to manufacture a midfielder like that. But I think if obviously Will Day, how much time is Will Day missing, or is it up in the air at the moment?
I think it's a fair chunk. Like he's had surgery. I think he's going to miss at least probably at least 6 weeks. I would say it could be longer.
So if Connor McDonald steps in, and fills that void, I think there's upside there. What's his price tag to be? What,
68 or something like that? Yeah,
there's so much value there. What do you think about the fact that he obviously has the early buy? He's got the round 3 buy. That also is the buy that he shares with Christian Petrarca, who we spoke about in our last episode. We said no Treloar and Petrarca, but are you happy with having...
I think I'm more happy with this with the price difference. And especially for someone who we're going off, it's a role-based call.
Yes.
And we haven't seen it last year. The luxury to see him in round 0 and see the role in a real game is going to be super, super valuable.
So you would want to see preseason, you would want to see lead up, but you'd also want to see it in round 0.
Because sometimes like Sanders last year, the fucking preseason, he's in the midfield. Practice matches in the midfield. Amy series in the midfield. Round 1, he's fucking out of the midfield.
Spare me.
So that's the kind of thing we're talking about here in terms of we're projecting it, we're hoping for it, but until we see it, we can't be certain. But the fact that we are going to see around 0 in a game that's worth 4 premiership points, like they're going to put him in there if he's going to be in there in that game. So
you're manifesting this too, because he's currently at the
he's in my side. He's in my side because I think I'm a believer in his talent. I'm a believer in the fact that they need him in there. Like you've got he's a different type of midfielder to a Newcomb, to a Connor Nash. And then that's it. Like who Ward and McKenzie have sort of been in there, but I think he's different to them as well. He's that guy that gives them pace. He's the guy that gives them excitement. And they don't have that when Will Day is not there. And to touch on that point earlier with the market share sort of thing, the fact that you've got players like a Nash in there and a Newcomb in there. I mean, Newcomb's a solid scorer, but Nash, he fucking plays 60% CBAs and scores 50s. I actually think that provides an opportunity for a player that can step in there and grab a large market share. I actually think you can view it as a positive that because those other guys aren't there stealing points and working it out, he could go straight from having no CBAs to being like the second best in terms of centre bounces, or CTAs, we should say, and possibly be the highest scoring midfielder in the team. Like, it would not surprise me or shock me if he is the highest averaging Hawk this season. Now, a lot of things have to go that way, and maybe Carl Eamon's probably the odds-on favourite. Yeah, but I think he has that potential, and I think that's a risk worth taking in a forward line this year if we see it in round 0. Now we have to see it in round 0. We do. If we don't, we shop elsewhere. But that's the kind of player that I think we could be having here.
Yeah, mate, you're twisting my rubber arm here. I'm liking what you're talking about. What's your? I said Mitchman before. What are you? The Mitchman. What? Are you just the Mitchman Tigers?
The Mitchman Greats. Just the Mitchman Legends.
That's what you're going to run with?
Legends.
The Mitchman Greats?
Yeah, Mitchman, I don't know, podcasters.
I'll give you time. I'll come back to you at the end of the podcast. Give you time to think.
Just Mitchman, mate. Just Mitchman. It's like...
you don't need another one.
Yeah, it's like Jordan. You
LeBron.
know what I mean? Yeah, LeBron, Kobe. It's just Mitchman.
Okay. Yeah, right.
All right, let's talk about this next guy here. Okay, now we're going to start to throw stuff against the wall, I think.
Aren't we what?
Let's talk about Tim Kelly. He's been a midfielder before. He plays for a team that doesn't have an early bye.
He plays for a team that scores 3 fantasy points a game.
Yes, he does. And in that team, he got dropped last year. However, he is a guy, he's priced fairly cheaply. He's priced at 63. You can think, okay, Tim Kelly, priced at 63. 2 years ago, he was an 85 player. That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
It's West Coast. How much competition are there in the midfield? He played 48% CPAs, which ironically was the second highest in the team.
Oh, it's bad.
Think about that. 48% and you're the second highest. He went from round 0 to round 19 basically out of the squad or when he's in there out of the midfield. Harley Reid goes down in round 20, and so for round 21 to 24, he's back in there 82, 83, 89, 75%. There was a lot of he had to look himself in the mirror at points last year, Tim Kelly. So I just sort of wonder, okay, is this an under the radar sort of player that I don't think his ceiling, his career high is like a 99 average. Don't think you're getting there on this West Coast team. But there's scope there.
He set the bar so low last year that of course, there's scope with a guy that has previously done that. Hopefully, you're adding Elliot Yeo to that mix. So I'd argue there's more competition for points.
You're probably right.
Even though he didn't score any when there was no competition for points last year. The thing is, look, if he were to become a 7% market share guy, that would put him at an average of 93 based on how many points West Coast scored last year. So, and just for perspective, 7% market share, that's the top
elite.
midfielders in the comp.
Elite,
So we're talking Bond. Even like a Josh Dunkley is actually lower. He's like a 6.7. They just score so many points at the lines. 93 would be a great pick, so don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But do you expect Tim Kelly to become a market share beast in the likes of Bontempelli, Jordan Dawson?
Yeah. No. So I think realistic upside, you're talking 80s, which is probably still a solid pick.
Yeah.
In most other years, I wouldn't consider him, but I think it's better than some other options, I think.
If you're Minnie McWalter and you're West Coast, what do you want to happen this year? Do you want Tim Kelly to get back to his best at 31, or do you want to see Harley Reid?
I want to see Harley Reid.
Ruben Jimby.
Yeah. Oh, Ruben, I don't know. Jimby, I think his midfield days.
I'm just saying, do you want to see young players improve their score?
Dersmer or something like that,
Or do you want to see...
No, yeah, you want to see the young guys in there. But I think sometimes the commentary around Reid especially is that he needs a bit of protection and things like that. But I mean,
Tim Kelly didn't provide it, did he?
No, he doesn't fucking do anything. And there's also talk about who was their mid-season draftee. He's moving into the midfield. Potentially.
Marriage? No, Marriage wasn't
Marriage.
mid-season.
No, it was...
oh, yeah. Old mate. Yeah,
I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, he's a defender. I'm gonna look it up right now.
How have we forgotten he was an elite pick?
Yeah, he basically came in and was the number one player for them. I'm gonna pull it up right now because it's gonna kill me. Tom McCarthy. So McCarthy looks like he might be heading into the midfield.
Yeah, everyone's screaming at the podcast. I know when I listen to other podcasts and someone has a mental blank like that, it's this person. They're all like, McCarthy, you motherfuckers.
Yeah. Welcome to the life of being a podcaster. You got to think on your feet.
Being a podcaster, get your head out of your ass, mate. You're an exercise physiologist.
No, professional podcaster. But look, I bring up his name to say I think he's a bit unders, potentially. A lot of risk there. He looks like he was almost being shown the door, but he's still there.
Okay. Now, I didn't want to talk about Tim Kelly, and I don't want to talk about this guy either. Mattaes Phillipou, you put him on the list, but I refuse to write any notes here. So you're going to have to hold this one up.
Remember those 4 games?
No.
Back in 2020, 2024, was it? He's obviously had a terrible run of injuries in the last 2 seasons. We wanted to pick him last year. He was about this price, I believe, last year. He's a little bit cheaper now, I think. He's priced at 58. We were considering last year priced at 63. He had that stretch, 2024, around 17, 18, 21, and 24. So not even consecutive. I think he got sick or something in the middle there, where he averaged 106. 106, Luke. 3 of those games he played in the midfield. And in round 24, he didn't have a single CBA and still scored a 119. Since then, he's only played 1 game where he's played more than 70% time on ground. So
70% TOG.
TOG, yeah. Not CBAs, TOG. So effectively, the last year, you just throw it out. I don't think it's usable data. You're basically we're wiping the slate clean on him and his ability to score. The thing that has me more concerned than obviously last year is the stuff that's happened at St Kilda. They've changed a lot of things. There's no longer Jack Steele there. They brought in Flanders. Nazia's now moved into the midfield.
Yeah.
And he seems to probably be their number 1 guy. And it's hard to like keep up with all that when you're a young player trying to find your way. So to me, that's more of the concern, and whether or not he's going to have the role. Like if the end of 2024 was last year, I'd be much more excited because I feel like the momentum was there. Like he was going into that, but the momentum just ground to a halt, and the team's now different. So I don't know if he's going to be that 50% CBA guy, which we would probably want him to be. Yeah. And because his discount is on the year before, he averaged 36 last year. It was in 7 games, but...
Don't worry, I know all about it. It was crazy to think about how much momentum he had off the back end of that 2024 season. Before the game had even opened in 2025, everyone was talking about, that he's a forward play. Obviously, look at his stats. Surely Ross is going to see this and he's going to want to play him in the midfield. He obviously had, some injury things and then came back mid-season. But it's a bit of a fall from grace in terms of fantasy from where we were kind of talking about him at the end of 2024.
Yeah, again, I think this is going to be one that will be answered in round 0. You see him in round 0 playing 50% CBAs, looking good. It's a good pick, right? Like it's a solid pick. It has upside. Like I'm tempering expectations. Like I think he'll probably be more of like a 80s best case scenario. But that's at his price point. That's 25 points of upside essentially, and I think that's worth picking. If he's not playing midfield and he's playing more of a pure forward role, then you just don't pick him. You move on. You've got a bit of time. Like maybe he moves in there eventually and he becomes a relevant pick later in the season. But it really is just going to come down to, I think it's a good thing that this kind of a player has a round 0 match that we can watch and we can actually see what his role is, because that's going to be what it comes down to.
Now, you stole most of your team reveal from Bales' team, but one player that you didn't steal that Bales did have was Sammy Lawler.
I know, and I feel dirty about it because he should be on our teams, right? Richmond
the
fans.
The Tigers, mate. But Bales has got him in there. So tell me, you stole every other player, but not Sammy. Why are you not high on Sammy?
Everything. Well, no, I am high on Sammy. It's again one of those things where second year breakout, you kind of do it sight unseen a little bit. But everything I'm hearing from anyone who's gone to a Richmond training session, David King, there's been a few others, are saying that this guy looks like a Ferrari. There's a lot of car references. A Rolls Royce.
Fucking hell, I was hoping,
a Ferrari.
I was hoping he might look like a human.
Yeah, no.
It might be hard with being a Ferrari.
It's hard to mark the ball.
Thumbs, do you use your wing mirrors?
I get tackled though, sure. So there's that. But he has the talent to improve his scoring from last year. I was screaming. We were both screaming last year. Our season's a mess. Put that guy in the fucking midfield.
Yeah, why would you not? He's got so much time. When you watch him play last year, he in traffic makes decisions that you would expect from a guy that's like been in the league 10 years. Things seem to slow down around him. I'm interested in the 10 points of baked in injury value as well.
Yes, there is that.
It's kind of weird to say for a guy that's so cheap, but yeah, he finished the season, the last 2 games, essentially injured.
Yeah, that hamstring, I believe it was.
So if you combine that sort of 10 points of maybe baked in injury value, plus 10 points of progression, more midfield time.
Yeah. So like he averaged CBA wise 21% CBAs. Now I think that might be decently affected by the injury games there as well. But basically, in games where he averaged 10% or more CBAs, he averaged a 63. There's the 10 points, like you said. So I think that's your floor. But he never had a single game where he had more than 50% CBAs. He had a couple at 40, like a 47 and a 44. His best game, he actually only had 29%, kicked a couple goals in that one. And the comparisons for him has been Dusty. He's Dusty. He's got the number 4 now. I don't know. Is that a good thing? Does that bump his scoring up? Or
big shoes?
But Dusty, I actually went back and looked at his fantasy career at the start. He hit the ground running. It was his second year. He went straight up into an 80s average. Well, now, it was a much different team, I think, back then. But, I don't know, something.
I went through that sort of Richmond midfield from last year, and I went down the players. I thought, who could I sort of arguably see Lawler replacing in terms of scoring? Is Taranto? No. Hopper? I said no, probably not. Prestia at his best? No. But I got to Jack Ross, and I thought...
Hell yes.
I thought, okay, Jack Ross at 72... average.
Yeah.
Okay. Could I? I'm not talking CBAs here. I'm talking just points.
Yeah.
Could I see Lawler in his second year kind of taking that?
I could easily see that.
And 72, that's a good pick.
Yeah. He's priced at what, 58? No, 53?
Yeah, he's cheaper. Yeah.
Let me have a look. 54 he's priced at. So yeah.
72 in the forward line you take.
That's 20 points of upside. And we haven't talked about rookies yet, but early days, like I don't think there's too many rookies in the forward line that we're super happy with. There's a few over in West Coast that we're hoping, like, you know, your Robertsons and your McRae's and things like that, we're hoping get a role. But I don't know if there's too many forwards in the rookie department that we're confident, whack them on there, there's 30 points of upside. So 20 points is just a cash generating option, might be a decent play. No early buy. And just a bit of excitement around the club, you know, young player, just bring everyone together.
Well,
so
he provided quite a bit of excitement
Maybe
in
too
one of
much.
his early games. So maybe, you know,
yeah, well,
bit of shower work for Sammy.
maybe, I don't know what to make of that, but he is
The Picage.
the Vicage. He might be an option. Say we get to round 0, we see Phillipou, he's lining up in the forward line. He's not really near the centre bounces. He's an option that you could go down from Phillipou to a Sam Lawler and make a bit of money. Maybe you're going to get a similar sort of an output to something like that, and he can sit there at sort of F4 or F5 potentially, depending on how many rookies you want to put in there. But I don't mind Lawler as an option. He was in one of my early drafts in my team. I caught a bit more of a wind of Connor McDonald playing more midfield. I put him in instead. But Lawler, I think, is definitely someone to consider. All right, who we got next, Luke?
I want to give some time to Todd Marshall because I think that you should give time to players that are potentially changing position.
Yes.
And that's the talk here at Port Adelaide, is that Todd Marshall is potentially going to go and find himself a home down back. I like this because of how cheap this guy is. So I don't know what the price that number is, but it's the $390. So he's effectively like an inflated rookie kind of price. If there's
price at 37.6.
So if as an experienced player you go into the back line, and potentially there's talk, and I shout out Louis here on the pod a couple of weeks back talking about the potential change in Port Adelaide's game style, maybe just slowing that ball down a little bit. If you're an experienced player, you go down back, you would have to fall over yourself not to average at least 60 back there, even if you're playing more of like a lockdown role. And straight away, you've got 20 points of upside with, I think, potential for more.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, and so this is sort of like a play we could compare this to would be like a Jack Silvani from last year.
Yeah.
And I think he's cheaper than what Silvani was from memory. And he ended up being a solid pick, an okay pick. I think in that year's forward line, it wasn't really ideal, but in this year's forward line, we might be looking for that. But yeah, and you know, we talked about Port players. We've got to bring up the draw. You know, like the draw early on is very friendly.
Might not see the defensive half.
Might not see that. I mean, well, I don't know. We'll have to see. There might be so much time to just chip it around at the end there. I've seen tweets saying that there was someone saying, he took a kick in. He took a kick in at practice. So he's going to be playing down back. Do you think his spot in the side is secure? Like, yeah, he might be moving defense. Is he best 23, 22?
The way Port Adelaide finished last year was not great. I think that
wasn't.
helps. I think what they like him down back is I think they want him to sort of marshal the troops down there. Is my gut feel.
Yeah, nice.
Get everyone organised.
Yeah.
So you see, because his name's
Isn't
Marshall.
Todd Marshall?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't sure whether
No, I was just letting the audience
quite
find it themselves.
Cross it. Yeah.
There's a tricky one. There's a bit of nuance there.
And that's about all I have to say.
Yeah. But I think that this is, again, it's a maybe an underrated one, maybe one that won't get a lot of airtime. I don't know. I haven't really heard too much, but maybe the closer we get to the season. I don't think the upside is going... Like, I don't think it's going to be a pick that you go, this is the pick that set me up at the start of the season. No. But it might be the pick that goes, all right, I avoided the terrible ones that everyone else did, and it got me enough. It got to me where I wanted to be. It's a player in the forward line that's going to be gaining value. And then, you know, it's good enough for this year. So I think he's definitely someone to keep in your back pocket as an option. Let's go on to a few other ones here. We're going to go back up a little bit in price to Josh Rachele. Now, again, it's another one of those throw it against the wall and sticks. Little bit of rumblings that
Who's
he is...
been rumbling? You got a sore tummy, mate. What's going on?
A little bit of rumblings that he might be at least training in the midfield.
like every other person in the preseason.
Like every other person, and like he seems to do most years as well. I think this is a very optimistic viewpoint. I don't really think that when everything's said and done, he's gonna walk in there and do much in the midfield. They've got too many other options, and he's a solid forward. But he was a guy early in his career that I think he had really good junior numbers. I think he played as a midfielder, similar to like Connor McDonald in his junior days, but he's had a bit of an up and down career to this point. I just think he's in a side that doesn't need him to make that switch, different to Connor McDonald.
Yeah, I agree. I think they would be forcing it to have him go in there with the caliber of player that they've already got. If I ask myself, what do I get out of putting Rachele into the midfield? Well, guess what? I already get that and more from putting Isaac Rankin into the midfield.
I 100% agree. I would make that move well before I put Rachele in there.
And then outside of that, you're not replacing Dawson, of course, and then those other guys that go through there. Barry at the end of last year.
Yep.
Who am I missing as well? Saligo. He's not going to do the...
Peatling.
He's not going to do the work that those guys do. Yeah. Rachele isn't.
Yeah, I agree. But it's a name, if we get to the start of the year and he's playing midfield and all the other options fall over, maybe. But I'm not super optimistic about it. But just to pad out this podcast.
It's bleak.
Jamarra Ugle-Hagan.
New club.
Didn't play last year. You get the discount. He's obviously a key position player, but he's extremely cheap.
Yeah, what is his price? What is his number?
I'm going to have to find that one.
The Bugle.
Jamarra. He's priced at 43.7. So he's more expensive than a Marshall, which already I'm like, okay, I'd rather Marshall first and foremost.
Better role
for Marshall.
Going down back. Looking after the troops.
But he's in a good side. I also just don't have much information on where he's at in terms of his readiness to play. Like... mental state or whatever it actually is.
This has wait and see written all over it, and he's got an early buy.
He's got an early buy, so you'll get a score if he's there in round 0. You'll get a score, but just know that he is discounted on what he's done before because he missed all of last year, didn't play games, so he's priced at 44. We have seen like Tex Walker, like as a key forward that comes to mind that started really cheap one year and just got on a decent run. Like there's a world where it happens, especially when you play in a solid side. It's probably just not someone I would go to.
Surely there's no more. The wall, have a look at it. It's covered in mud.
One more I'm going to throw.
My testes are still up there.
One more I'm going to throw
you away. Mud.
Liam Reidy.
Oh.
Liam Reidy. Now, you in your team, didn't you have...
Reidy is...
He's ready to go?
Yeah, Reidy's nice.
Yeah, it's an oldie.
He's lurking. He's lurking in the showers.
How much of a barrier is Mr. Worldwide Mark Pitnest? Like... I looked at Mark Pitnett and I was shocked about how not old he is. Like, in my head, I thought he was like Todd Goldstein. He's fucking 29.
He moves like Todd Goldstein.
Yeah, I was shocked that he was not yet 30 years old. So in my head, I was putting him out, but he career high of 70 points. With a 79% CBAs, that's Mark Pitnett. Like, what's he doing? Why is Reidy actually there to play? And what would make him a good pick?
Well, first of all, if he played and Pitnett didn't, he'd be an awesome pick.
Oh, great pick, yeah.
He's priced at exactly the same price as Marshall. So if you're choosing between those two and you can't have room for both, Marshall, based on what we know with the role, that's where you're going to go. But I do like the idea, even if Reidy played with Pitnett, surely he's going to get enough minutes in that role to
you'd have to think
score
so.
60.
They played a little bit of a funny thing with Pitnett and De Koning last year where you'd have one rucking the forward 50, one rucking sort of around the ground. I could see something like that happening. And yeah, you price at 37. Like a chop-out ruckman... it's got to be at least like a 55 to 60 sort of a player.
You'd hope so. He's got that ruck forward DPP. He's actually owned by 11% of teams compared to Marshall's 3% early days. And I think the ruck forward, it is hard. The ruck forward combination is not bad in a year where I think a lot of us are going for maybe at least one value ruckman as well. So just like that flexibility.
The flexibility I think is nice. He can cover someone like if you want to go a Briggs, or if you want to go someone like a Brodie Grundy, you could at least have 22 on field that week than the 21. So that's nice. And him missing a week in round 2 is not a big deal because he's priced so cheap anyway. He's essentially it's like picking a rookie. It's another one where round 0 you're going to come and you'll see the split. You'll see how much they use. If he's there, first and foremost, like he might not be there. He might not make the squad. But you'll see if he's there, and if he is there, is Pitnet there as well? And if they're both in, what's the split? How much did they do, and how does that look? How does that work? Always a nice thing to start with Richmond in round 1. You love that. So he's a name. He's a name. Like there is a world where we do have Marshall, Reidy, Lawler, and we just go cheap because the guys at the top are just, we don't love them all. If they are the ones that seem to work out. So I think the forward line, more than any line, is going to be dependent on round 0. I think that's what I've taken away from all this research into the forward line. Don't get attached to your forward line before round 0 because round 0 is going to come along and it could look dramatically different.
Agreed. Wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. So that is the forwards, and we are going to finish the horror that is the forward line there, and we're going to move on to another horror shit show that is the rucks next week. A little bit less so because of the players, but more for the uncertainty on the rules and everything else surrounding that position. So stay tuned for that one, and that's going to tidy up our positional series. If you haven't already, you can. We alluded to it a few times. You can go and check out our team reveal, which dropped last week. So go and check that one out if you want a little bit of inspiration to start your team. It's a great team. You can go and check that out and probably win a Hilux perhaps with it. But yeah, make sure you guys like, subscribe, 5-star rating review. We'll see you guys for the rucks. Bye.